Chiefs got the W, but there's a lot more to it. Where is this momentum going, and how do they get there right now on Locked On Chiefs?
From the land of the free and the home of the Chiefs, this is the Locked On Chiefs podcast.
Welcome back, friends and neighbors. Nice to see you. Thanks for making us your first listen here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every single day right here on Locked On Chiefs, where we've been doing this forever. Approaching the 9th season for me. Matt's been with us for 7 or 8 at this point. You can find him at ChiefsDigest.com. Chiefs Digest here on the YouTube platform, and 41 is the mic, as well as randomly about town like you do. Lot to talk about. We are going to run down what is Patrick Mahomes and what is his momentum turn into momentum for this team. We're going to come back. We're also going to discuss who deserves more work after this Monday night football fiasco, which is always a lot of fun. And we'll give you your first glimpse of the newfound offensive Buffalo Bills and what the Chiefs need to look for. Coming up right now. But we'll start, Matt, right off the top. And we were live very late last night. I appreciate your time, and I know that this is quick turnaround. I've had a chance to watch a little bit and kind of meander back into what I think. And I come back to the point that Mahomes, unlike the last couple of years, is back to being his money self, despite, and maybe akinly like, those days with a couple of interceptions here and there. I don't feel like that was pinnable on him, and I feel like he is still rising and the momentum is building for him personally. Where do you see it a day removed?
Yeah, I'm with you right there. I mean, it doesn't mean that Patrick Mahomes is going to be perfect. I mean, he had a couple of mistakes in the game. One that certainly hurt them, the turnover with the Hollywood Brown on that throw. There were a lot of things wrong with it that, any one of them could have fixed it, but that's on the quarterbacks, ultimately. I'm going to put that more on Mahomes than I am the interception that bobbled out of Travis Kelce's hands. And hey, he's going to make mistakes. He's not perfect. And we can nitpick this game as much as you want. There wasn't a lot to not like, especially offensively. I mean, you take out the 2 turnovers in the first half. The offense was moving. They certainly seemed like that they were going towards a score on both those drives. Hey, potentially you could have had 14 more points, maybe at least 6 points. I mean, there's a little bit of a range there, but really all you had were 2 turnovers in the first half. Other than that, this was pretty much another perfect game for the offense.
I mean, and that's the way that it's settling down. But I feel like while, yes, perfect game's hard to buy, by the way. I'm not going to repeat that now that I think about it. But given where they are, I do feel like that steadiness and that like combination and the few things they've had to deal with moving players around, I still feel like it's still on the upward swing in terms of what it does for the entire offense and their confidence going forward into this Bills game and into the bye. Am I being too rose-colored glasses here?
I don't think you are, because at this point the Chiefs have shown they've got that ability. They can tailor their offense, and this was their strength back in the day. I mean, they could tailor their offense to whatever teams were doing to them, and they look like they're kind of getting back to that. I mean, Washington didn't want to give up anything deep, so they tried to keep everything in front of them. Well, now the Chiefs have when healthy, have the weapons to be able to counter that. And, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid said during the offseason that they were going to throw the ball deep to open things up for the short game. That's counterintuitive. That goes against conventional wisdom, because normally it's you're running the football, you're using your screen game, you're using those things to open up the deep ball. And the Chiefs, their mentality was to do the exact opposite. They felt that if they could use the weapons that they've got, like Xavier Worthy and Tyquan Thornton and Hollywood Brown, to stretch the field, then it was going to open up that 10 to 15 yard portion of the field, 5 to 15 yard portion of the field that they really didn't get to take advantage of last year. And now, I mean, you don't have just Travis Kelce, trying to break up bracket coverage and double coverage to find openings, in the middle of the field. Now you got Juju Smith-Schuster can do that. Rashee Rice, that's his bread and butter in that middle of the field. So, now they've got a lot of options. Honestly, Xavier Worthy can do the same thing. So they've got a lot more choices than they have had in recent years. And I think you're just seeing it. I mean, they can beat teams in multiple ways, and that's going to be a problem for other teams going forward.
I have to agree. And it's going to take the whole village, right? All those targets, all those guys blocking. And I'm just running down some stats here. 8 games through at this point, knowing that Patrick generally only plays 16 games no matter what. He did have a couple of years in 21-22 where he was involved at least in all 17 games. But at this point, he's on pace to do better than he's done the last 2 seasons in yardage. He's well ahead in terms of passing touchdowns. He's at 17, whereas last year he had 26 for the entire regular season. At this point, also well ahead of interceptions, despite what just happened. 4 on the season, 11 for all of last season in the regular. It just feels like, as much as it is, it needs all those guys, and this is what it should look like. So my question for you becomes, with all that in tow, if they lose somebody, if Hollywood gets hurt, if Rashee has to miss 2 games with a big toe problem, whatever that is, do you feel that this offense is not only more momentous, but more resilient this year, given the 6 that they have at the receiver position?
I mean, I think it's the same as it has been the last couple of seasons, that, hey, they're good enough to weather 1 injury. They're 2 injuries, they're still a playoff team and clearly still a Super Bowl contender. It just gets a lot harder. Now, talk about losing 3 guys. Now we might be talking about, now it might be an uphill battle. But I mean, this team has shown that the last couple of seasons that, yeah, they can they're good enough to weather the loss of a player or 2. It just makes it that much harder. And last year was the hardest degree of difficulty that they had. Not only did they lose a couple of guys, not only had they had that, but they had just the pressure of the three-peat that was on their shoulders every single day. And, I said this earlier today to someone, there were exhilarating moments when they had some of those close wins. They block a field goal against Denver and walk it off. You get some of these last minute wins and there's a relief. There's an exhilaration from that. But I don't know if the rank and file players and Mahomes and Kelsey's and Chris Jones's in particular, I don't know if they had a lot of fun last year. And I think it's been a couple of years now where the slogging has been so hard, and with the injuries that they had, that it's been a battle. Right now, this season, it's becoming easy, and that's great. I mean, because if it becomes easy, then you can roll. And this team is having a lot of fun. And when this group has fun, when Patrick Mahomes is having fun, they can get on a roll where they can just become unstoppable. Now, hey, you can have a ding along the way. You might have a stretch where maybe you do play 3 or 4 bad quarters in a row. Although I think that right now with this team, I think it's going to be hard to make them play 4 bad quarters in a row. And their defense has never been this good at the same time that their offense has. I mean, right now, Ryan, this is a top 5 offense and defense, right? I mean, that's sure what the numbers would tell you. And that's, in the NFL, an unbeatable combination. You don't see that very often. And this team is playing absolutely perfect complementary football. And as long as they continue to do that, they're going to be hard to beat. And if they go out and do what they have done the last 3 games to Buffalo, they're going to put the fear in the rest of the league, and including a couple of opponents that I think you want to have some fear feeling on their end, and the Colts and the Broncos.
I think that fear factor comes in handy, and as long as you can sustain the health, I think you can get there. But you got to make sure that you keep everybody healthy, keep that rotation. Staying there is the hard part. So who deserves more work? There's at least 3 guys, and I'm going to tell you who they are next. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride, with more IHS Top Safety Plus pick awards than anyone else. As of August 25, from footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings the same intention to how we craft every model. You can feel Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Nappa leather upholstery. Like our players, we sweat every detail as well, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move. The NFL season is back, and honestly, there's nothing better than being in the stadium surrounded by fans cheering for your team. But let's be honest, getting tickets is a hassle. Between queues, login screens, prices jumping at checkout, it's really frustrating, and that's why I use Game Time, the app that gives you the advantage back to fans. Game Time is fast, easy, and backed by the Game Time guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered every time at the best price, plus all the fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. I pull up Game Time anytime to get a couple of taps. I get amazing deals. I get to see where my seat is. I get to see my favorite NFL games for as low as $100. You can too. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply, but again, that's promo code LOCKEDONFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. I love getting into it because no matter what you're trying to tweak, you can always get something else out of it. You can find that stuff at Chiefs Digest. So check out Matt's work there, chiefsdigest.com. Matt, I think there's two guys in particular, and then one that's kind of a question mark. I'm just going to throw it at you. It's going to be okay. It might be a little painful, but it's going to be okay. I went and I watched specifically the usage and its evolution for Brashard Smith, and I like what I'm seeing. The volume isn't there, but I think the way that they're using him is. We've seen him run inside the tackles. We saw him do a little bit more motion to decoy some of the Washington defense last night. And in particular, they used a shotgun toss play that I think is only scratching the surface of what he's going to bring out there. It's been painful through 8 games to kind of watch it just tick a little bit at a time, but now it's here. Do you expect them to kind of mash the accelerator? What have you seen and what do you want them to do?
Yeah, I mean, a traditional thing for the Chiefs would be that once you get to the bye week and you start to work in December, that the Chiefs are going to depend on some of the young guys to make bigger contributions, to just take the load off of other guys. And, at that point that they start to feel like that they're comfortable having a bigger role. And yeah, I mean, I think Brashard Smith had 9 snaps, I think, last night, if I'm not mistaken. And that's not enough for me. I mean, like you said, the workload needs to be more, and they're just scratching the surface. But I think I don't necessarily want to ascribe it as a conspiracy theory, but when I go back to training camp and I watch the things that the Chiefs were doing with Brashard Smith, you're right. They have just scratched the surface. I mean, they've done a few of those wrinkles, but I think Andy Reid's saving them. And this could be one of the games that he's saving them for. I mean, there could be others down the road, but like you said, I mean, getting Brashard Smith on the edge is the best weapon out of the backfield that they have. Pacheco doesn't have that skill set. Kareem doesn't have that skill set anymore. But Brashard, he can run that outside zone, and that stuff that the Chiefs used to run so effectively with a younger Kareem Hunt, with Damian Williams especially. I mean, you could go all the way back to Jamal Charles if you want to. I mean, Jamal Charles could put 2,000 yards up in a season, fully healthy, running outside zone. But even with Damian Williams, I mean, he had the speed and the ability to do that. Brashard, I mean, I think they're still a little nervous about his inexperience because he doesn't have a ton of experience as a running back, just the 1 year in college. So I think they still worry about his patience a little bit, even though I think that's improving. They want the game to keep slowing down for him. And I mean, again, he had a nice run last night that got wiped out with the Rashee Rice penalty. I wasn't as convinced as some others that Rashee Rice's penalty made that play. I thought he was going to have a pretty good game without it, but that maybe I'm looking at that through Brashard Smith colored glasses. But you're right. He's the guy, and especially because if for no other reason, he's the one guy that they're not using enough at, that there's more to that skill set. It's not just on the outside. It's splitting him out as a receiver. It's moving him around. It's trying to create mismatches. I mean, if you can get Brashard Smith lined up on a linebacker, that thing's going, and it's going a long way. We saw in training camp, you get him lined up on a linebacker, that could be a touchdown play.
Yeah, I think that's still going to be true for quite a long time, at least until the future acquisition comes that we'll talk about later, folks. Another guy that we've talked about, 2 others, one that I want to see more of, and I was a little surprised to find out that Jaden Hicks actually out-snapped Ryan Cook last night. That was a little bit strange, but I think we're seeing a good volume of Hicks after a dip. Now I'm ready for more Christian Roll-Walls. I think he makes plays when he's out there. I think he's put in solid snaps, but I think he needs to be a little bit more of a chess piece out there and be able to take away certain matchups. Maybe the Commanders were a little bit too wounded. But between him and the fan favorite action that happened today with Mike Pennell getting released and the status of the Chiefs' defensive line group, which one of those two guys do you think is more pertinent to what is going on right now? And I can't ask you both because I've talked too long as it is already. Who would you like to see in this defense next week? Chris Wallace or Mike Pennell?
I mean, here's the thing. If you're going to give me 3 players that need to have more time for the Chiefs going forward and after the bye week in particular, I'm just going to say it's an unknown defensive tackle, whoever it is, because I mean, Derek Notty's got a specific role, but Derek Notty is not going to give you 40 snaps at this point in his career. You probably want him will be more around 20. Jerry Tillery is a niche player. The Chiefs kind of showed that, hey, when it comes to the Marlon Tuipulotos last night, the Broderick Martins that they could bring up from the practice squad, Zach Pickens, whomever, those guys are practice squad guys for a reason. So they're not going to be guys that you're necessarily depending on a lot of snaps. Mike Pennell wouldn't necessarily be a guy that you're depending on a lot of snaps, but you've gotten some comfort with him. And again, he's got more experience in the defense than all those guys except for Derek Notty. And you can't have, it wasn't, 44 out of 53 snaps for Chris Jones isn't terrible, especially since he only played 30, I think, less than 30 last week. So it's not like Chris has been having too much of a workload, but you got to get him some help. And certainly you need some help against the run defense, and Pennell would do that for you. It seems like a natural fit. We'll see if, there was a lot of talk, obviously, from Mike Pennell on social media after the roster incident, let's call it, about loyalty. So I don't know if that still applies. Maybe things have changed, but here's the thing. I don't know if there's another team that wants Mike Pennell as much as the Chiefs, and I don't know if there's a better match. So it might just be, hey, hug and make up and get it done with.
Yeah, get past it. If there's anybody who doesn't want Mike Pennell back in Kansas City, it's James Cook, and he's ready to come at him. We'll talk about him.
I'm Cody Rourke from Locked On Broncos, and this episode is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. This is Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or you're cross-training with your favorite instructors like Alex Toussaint. It's training reimagined to make your workout more personal. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with features that help you plan, stay motivated, and hit peak performance. You can let yourself run, lift, flex, and go while Peloton handles all the rest. Plus, Peloton IQ provides real-time strength coaching, tracking your progress and suggesting weights that challenge you so you can get stronger. Plus, the new movement tracking camera, it counts your reps and corrects your form in real time, making sure every rep is safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
Folks, make sure that you like and sub here, and you do the same at ChiefsDigest.com and Chiefs Digest here on the platform. Matt, this is an opportune time for the Buffalo Bills to figure themselves out, and I think that they did that. When you look at James Cook in particular, 216 yards on the ground, I can't say that it was a shock to me. You tell me if I'm undercutting what the Carolina Panthers are capable of, but if the Chiefs were to add an acquisition, whether it's Mike Pennell or as you said, the unknown DT to be named later, if that were to come out, I think that James Cook ran okay inside. I'm not terribly concerned about that, but I do think he's better outside, more of a menace outside. But are you concerned coming off of that last game, what the Chiefs are walking into with Cook in particular?
Well, I mean, he's been a little bit of a menace, obviously, but you even if that's a strength right now of the Bills, and let's face it, I mean, their offense has had a couple of off weeks heading into the yesterday. Now, there's a lot to try and make of what that game was yesterday. I mean, Carolina technically is the best team that the Buffalo Bills have beaten all season. So, but at the same time, bless their hearts, they're still the Carolina Panthers. So I'm probably a little bit more impressed with the 40 than I am with the 9 points that they gave up, because that is one of the better performances that the Buffalo defense has had this season, because they have been a complete mess. So are we going to get that same Buffalo team against the Chiefs this weekend? I mean, it seems unlikely. I don't think the Buffalo Bills are putting up 40 on the Chiefs defense. I also don't think that the Chiefs are only putting up 9 on Buffalo. So it's going to be a little bit different. There is one element, though, from the Chiefs' past history and Spags' defense history that popped up a little bit against the Commanders and has me just slightly concerned, Ryan. And that is that they gave up too many yards to running backs in the passing game. Especially, hey, McNichols had the one big 24-yard gain that was a part of it, but he had 5 for 64. Now McCroskey Merritt really didn't go anywhere, but they had some other guys too, but the ones with McNichols are kind of, concerned me. I think they ended up with about 80 yards from their running backs in the passing game. And that was been a weakness of the Chiefs in the past, because obviously it's a bit of a weakness for Nick Bolton getting matched up against running backs. And even though I think that Leo Chanel and Drew Tranquil have been a lot better in those situations, I mean, we've also seen James Cook eat the Chiefs alive in the passing game.
Yes.
So that's where I think if you're the Chiefs, you've got to be focused, and you can focus a little bit, because the one thing that you got going for you this time that you haven't against Buffalo in a while is that Josh Allen doesn't have a lot of targets. I mean, he doesn't have the receivers that he once had. So if that means that you're paying a little bit more attention to Cook in the passing game than maybe you have in the past, that's a good thing, because he can absolutely be disruptive on the ground or in the air.
Yeah, and I think he's also got that big playability that if you sleep on him once, he could take it to the house. I'm not sure I can say that about everybody else on that offense. Even Shakir, who is shifty and I think has given the Chiefs some problems at times in the past, but I don't even know if Coleman's in town anymore. I think they were about to run him out on a rail for a bit. I don't know if they can sustain that. So the question becomes for me is, how do you choose to attack Josh this time around? You've given him a lot of looks over the years, and is it more of like sit back and let him try to pick it because you feel you can cover better and maybe you don't have to overload or you don't have to send exotic blitzes? Maybe you can sit back this time. Am I crazy?
I don't think you're crazy. And I mean, I feel like that's one thing that the Chiefs have never, I felt like, really played Josh Allen as a mobile quarterback. I mean, they've played against him more worried about his arm. And let's face it, I think it's his legs that have damaged you more than his arm over the years, if anything, because it's just the back-breaking plays that he makes. So, hey, is this a game where you're going to play a little bit more of Leo Chanel as a spy in the middle? I'd love to see that, because I mean, even if you're doing plans what the Chiefs kind of ran it a few times the other night against Mariota. I mean, if you're using from some 4-3 fronts with Chanel in the middle, next to Chris Jones standing up, I'm fine with that. Especially if you just every once in a while want to blitz him and everything. The Chiefs, I mean, hey, I still feel like that 2 years ago, last year, they drafted Jaden Hicks to be a guy that is physical enough to tackle and bring and go after Josh Allen. So, I mean, that to me, I feel like if you're the Chiefs, this might be the time to finally say, hey, if Josh Allen's going to beat us, he's going to beat us with his arm. We're going to keep him in the pocket. We're not going to let him scramble for touchdowns. We're not going to let him have these back-breaking third down conversions or anything of that nature. Force him to stay in the pocket because, like you said, Shakir has had some good games against the Chiefs in the past. Did it as the third option, not the first option. And that's where I think like Bills are different this year.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. The Chiefs also are a little bit different. And the attention that Rashee Rice, and honestly, the production that Rashee Rice has already put up in so few snaps, I think is eye-altering. And I do think that particular secondary has an option to maybe overthink it and maybe over-pursue. A lot of hubbub about Tyquan Thornton and his up and down usage roller coaster since Rashee's return. I feel like this is a game where you can not only use him on those deep routes to draw coverage, but to actually get some things done, as we've seen it be a little bit more sporadic. How do you feel about the way the Bills will likely attack Rashee and therefore Thornton?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the coverages are. I mean, if the Bills are, if they go into a cover 2, cover 3 look that's intended to entirely take away the back end of the defense, then yeah, I mean, there's going to be fewer opportunities for Tyquan. I mean, the Chiefs are going to go with a different look, but they showed against Washington they can make that adaptation. They don't have to be in the business of throwing the ball 50 yards downfield. I mean, they can take their shots. Hey, maybe that was even purposeful. I mean, I've said it, I've said this for many years, Ryan. You've heard me say this before, but it's probably been a while. I mean, Andy Reid to me is a symphony conductor with an offense. He's not game planning week to week. He game plans for a 21 game season. Mm-hmm. He game plans with the intention that, you know what, I'm going to show you something in week 2 because I'm playing somebody in week 9 that I want to run something against him, but I need to put this on film so the next time that they see it, they're going to see something different, and that difference is going to be designed to take advantage of their weakness. I mean, that's the way the man thinks. So, that's why hey, you see some things against Washington. Maybe it was particularly done to make sure that the most recent thing that the Buffalo Bills have seen was that Washington game plan, because maybe he was planning on showing him something different, and they're going to use some unscouted looks. That. It seems like the Chiefs every week have been whipping out an unscouted look. Hey, maybe this will be the greatest hits. Who knows? But I also know that, once again, I mean, it comes back to Andy Reid and that symphony. He's always planning on playing the Buffalo Bills twice in a season. So he's planning on seeing them again. So is he going to run everything? Maybe. But he's also going to run some things against Buffalo this week with the pure intention that if he sees them in January, he's going to be able to show them the same look and do something different again.
It's 3D chess out there, folks. Andy's playing, and I'm not sure everybody else is. Matt, thanks for your insight and always setting us straight.
Try, Ryan. You usually don't need to be set straight, though. So,
well, every now and then, just bump me back onto the road. It'll be fun. Folks, thank you for being with us. We very much appreciate you. Check out ChiefsDigest.com, as well as RGR Football, NFL 33, and Rogue Analytics. While you're at it, you might as well, because draft season's only like 6 months away. So, hey, get after it, folks. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.